In union with the Church throughout the world, we honour in a special way the great gift of the Blessed Sacrament over this weekend, and in answer to prayer, there seems to be enough fair weather to have a little procession afterwards, modestly but nevertheless sincerely. The devil hates the Blessed Sacrament, and he does everything to desecrate it or make it unavailable. One wonders actually how he's been given such power to close down churches and make the sacraments illegal for a while in Ireland. That's another story. We notice that the Lord, in answering the Pharisees, talks about division. The devil works actually as a good military officer, divide and conquer. His own name, Diabolos, means the divider. Dia and bolos, the two roots there, through and cast. So he casts division in the midst like a wedge. And one sees his work in a parish, a monastery, a prayer group. One sees it in the church itself. Divide and conquer. What he will do classically is this: if he finds a good community, he will look for the weak link. Oh, good, there's somebody in there who has that character defect. That's what I'm going to use to upset the whole apple cart. And so that's what he's going to do. So just be one step ahead and see how he acts. It's discernment of spirits. Somebody who's imbalanced can make the whole thing go off on a tangent, and energy can be wasted rather than concentrating on the Lord. Now, if we don't believe in the devil, just look around and see his work. There are actually now quite a lot of things available about what goes on in satanic worship. It's unmentionable, it's just unbelievable what they do. And the devil, of course, needs blood, and he delights in all this stuff. And the difference between the devil and his arch enemy, God, whom he wanted to ape and imitate, is that the devil answers immediately. And those who give their souls to the devil will have success. They will have what they want in this life. God doesn't act in quite the same manner. Now I want to zoom into this curious conversation that goes on here. Beelzebul, that means Baal-zebul, Lord of the Flies, is in him. It is through the prince of devils that he casts devils out. And then to that point the Lord goes on to talk about Satan casting out Satan and being divided against himself. This happened in Iowa in 1928, just under a century ago. A woman had been cursed by her own father. It took place in a parish in Erling and was assisted by religious sisters, all of whom requested a transfer when the distressing experience was over. The story shows the power of Satan, but more importantly, it demonstrates the power of God over Satan. And by the way, I remember coming across something that happened in the time of the Reformation in Switzerland. It was a case of quite a severe demoniac. They're possessed completely by the other side, and they tried by all means to get this person liberated. And because it was an area where there was a strong Protestant presence, the Protestant pastor was coming along as well and trying to repeat what the Catholic priest was doing, including coming along with what he had reserved from his own celebration of the Eucharist. And the devil scoffed at it completely. And when he came to using his own prayer book, the devil scoffed atrociously and made complete fun of him, indicating that he himself, the devil, had inspired this prayer group, and so he wasn't going to be much pushed around by it. Whereas the Catholic exorcist, when he brought the Eucharist, the Blessed Sacrament, immediately the devil was frightened to death. So that's just to indicate that these things are objective. But the devil, by the way, knows which hosts are consecrated. He has to have every month a certain amount of consecrated hosts for their black masses and rites and what goes on in the secret, usually in the early hours of the morning, 3 o'clock. And this is happening all the time, and made far more easy now by communion in the hand. Just be aware of all that. It's been pushed by you know who. They're going away all the time with the Blessed Sacrament. They're taking from tabernacles, and also they're available on the black market. Now, this is what happened, part of it, in this exorcism. It was the holy priest, Father Theophilus, who was the main exorcist in all this, and we have it written down by those who were present. Now, when the demon is pressed by someone in authority like an exorcist, he has to answer under certain conditions. In the name of Jesus and his most blessed mother, Mary the Immaculate, that's the title he can't bear, who crushed the head of the serpent, we just had that in the first reading today. Tell me the truth. Who is the leader or prince among you? What is your name? He's talking here to the person possessed by these demons, but he's talking to the demons inside her. And then we have this dialogue, barking like the hound of hell. Beelzebub! You call yourself Beelzebub. Are you not Lucifer, the prince of the devils? No, not the prince, the chieftain, but one of the leaders. You were therefore not a human being, but you are one of the fallen angels, who with selfish pride wanted to be like unto God. Yes, that is so. How we hate him. Why do you call yourself Beelzebub, if you are not the prince of the devils? Enough. My name is Beelzebub. From the point of influence and dignity, you must rank near Lucifer. Or do you hail from the lower choir of angels? I once belonged to the seraphic choir. What would you do if God made it possible for you to atone for your injustice to him? Are you a competent theologian? How long have you been torturing this poor woman? Since her 14th year. How dared you enter into that innocent girl and torture her like that? Did not her own father curse us into her? Curses are terrible things, by the way. The devil loves to hear them. Don't use bad language or bring anything you don't need to into your language. But why do you, Beelzebub, alone take possession of her? Who gave you that permission? Don't talk so foolishly. Don't I have to render obedience to Satan? Then you are here at the direction and command of Lucifer. Well, how could it be otherwise? And then it goes on to the number of languages being used. German, English, Latin. And the devil answers perfectly, and even when the poor exorcist is getting tired in certain prayers and mispronounces his words, the devil corrects him in his Latin. On it goes. Is then the father of the woman also present as one of the devils? Now this is a concept which you want to grasp. That can happen. Human demons. So he's in there too. What a foolish question. He has been with us ever since he was damned. So on it goes. And he tries to get to this human demon. Are you, when this voice comes up, the unfortunate father who has cursed his own child? No. Who are you then? I am Judas. Are you Judas Iscariot, the former apostle? Yes, I am the one. This was howled in the deepest bass voice. It set the whole room a-quivering, but out of pure fright and horror, the pastor and some of the nuns ran out. And then a scene of spitting and vomiting goes on. Then finally, Judas was asked, "What business have you here?" "To bring her to despair." Notice this bit. "So that she will commit suicide and hang herself. She must get the rope. She must go to hell." Now just be aware that when there's a pattern of suicide in an area, there could also be satanic activity in the area. The demons love suicide. It's not that necessarily everyone will lose their soul in suicide, but it's a demonic business because it's the last, as it were, defiance of God. It's pushing life back in the face of its giver. It's putting up rude fingers in the face of God. And it's an insult to divine majesty from which we came. No one has the right to shorten his life. And now it's all a valid alternative with means given to the young people to do it painlessly. Then actually this question is brought up. Is it then a fact that everyone that commits suicide goes to hell? Rather not. Why not? We devils are the ones that urge them to commit suicide, to hang themselves, just as I did myself. And the horror of it is that Judas and Simon Peter were close to the source of grace. One recognized and didn't despair. The regard of the love in the eyes of the Son of God was enough. Judas couldn't face his eyes. In the film of Mel Gibson, there's a slight moment at which the eyes meet. Judas is in a bad way. He didn't have to end up on that rope. And you people, listen to what people, especially young people, might be saying. Pick up the vibes in time. On it goes. Do not regret that you've committed such a despicable deed. A terrible curse followed. Let me alone. Don't bother me with your fake God. It was my own fault. Then he kept on raving in a terrible manner. Now Judas Iscariot was one of the 12, and at the Last Supper, on which we think in this weekend of Corpus Christi, he was ordained, both priest and bishop. The other 11 heroically were faithful to the end. He had the same grace and didn't correspond. We too are bombarded with graces in our Catholic faith, and alas, we too deflect them. The Lord wants open hearts. He wants consolation, for he too is badly abused in this greatest gift of his love. I'll just finish. Years ago, when I was in the monastery in Italy, we had young people coming to us all the time, and they would even stay with us over the holidays sometimes. We had a child there who was very good at serving and very pious. But the prior whispered to him one day, "Pourquoi est-ce que tu pars? Why do you leave like a thief? You're carrying the Blessed Sacrament. Stay with it." I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord,